What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be answering my #1 most asked question on Instagram, YouTube, and even in person. And that is, what is the best exhaust setup for these M3, M4, M2, S55, F8X generation cars? And yeah, I thought it would be a great idea to just drop a video on this. I know I have a bunch of videos, with Active Autowerke products, downpipes, midpipes, but I thought I would be able to summarize everything in one video for those of you guys that are still, on the fence or still wondering what setup to go with. So hopefully if you guys have those questions, they'll be answered in this video. But as always, make sure you guys drop a like, comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell, follow your boy on Instagram, and now let's get into this video. Here is the F80 all cleaned up. Gave it a wash a few days ago, looking hella nice as you guys can see here. And then I just wanted to show you guys, we added another banner to the garage, HRE wheels. Shout out to F80 Trevor. I saw this in his garage because he just got some HREs and I knew I had to get this. So yeah, looks so good along the wall with the theme that we have going on. But instead of, talking in the garage and inputting some exhaust clips in, I think it'd be a better idea if we actually went for a drive and then I talked to you guys there. So let's go ahead, start the F80 up. Yeah, let's get this video started. Alright, what's up YouTube? We are back in the car right now, and before I go over all of the different setups that I had on my car, let's just summarize for those of you guys that don't want to watch this whole video. Let's go ahead and give you guys a quick summary so you guys can click off if you want to. But I invite you guys obviously to watch the whole video and maybe learn something, or if you're on the fence between a single mid-pipe or equal length mid-pipe, maybe this will help you out a little bit. But to give you guys a quick summary, if you guys have stock downpipes and don't plan on going aftermarket, whether you have a factory warranty or something like that, you kind of want to keep the car tame. If you guys plan on keeping your stock downpipes, I would recommend going with the equal length mid-pipe. And I say this because the stock downpipe and equal length mid-pipe setup was actually my favorite on this car besides the one I have now. And it just sounds so good with stock downpipes. It takes out all the rasp, it's so smooth, the tone changes completely, and it opens up and livens up the car so much, and it makes the driving experience so much better. You obviously can go with the single mid-pipe with stock downpipes as well, but I think from my own personal liking and my own experience, I would go with a equal length mid-pipe with stock downpipes. And on the flip side, if you guys plan on getting a tune, or you guys want to get like catless downpipes or even catted downpipes, I would actually opt for the single mid-pipe, because what happens is when you change out your downpipes and you still have an equal length mid-pipe, and if you have a DCT car, you'll get a 2K RPM buzz that is super annoying and will drive you crazy over time. So that is why I recommend those two setups. I also just wanted to note, if you guys have a manual car, you guys can pretty much run whatever exhaust setup you guys want, because you guys won't experience the 2K buzz or rasp issue that I had when I had my catless downpipe and my equal length mid-pipe. So yeah, you guys can pretty much run whatever setup you guys want, whatever sounds the best to you guys. This is mostly for DCT car owners. So again, stock downpipe, equal length mid-pipe. If you have aftermarket downpipe, catless or catted, I would go with the single. And that is, again, from my own personal experience. You guys can choose whatever you guys want, but if you guys want to keep watching the video, I'm going to go through each of my exhaust setups and insert some clips, of course. So I hope you guys enjoy. The first setup we're actually going to go over is my stock downpipe setup. And so I think this was about a year, maybe a year into my ownership, maybe less than a year. And Active Autowerke had just announced the equal length mid-pipe. As all of us, most of you guys know, they've already had the single mid-pipe out for a few years. Huge shout out to Active Autowerke. They are a partner of mine and they're friends and family now. And I've been able to, make a bunch of videos. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, just type in Active Autowerke and my channel name, and you'll probably see all the ones that I've dropped. But going back to the equal length mid-pipe, I was following the R&D process pretty closely with the BMW Invasion at the time, now Beamer Invasion guys. So Miguel and Ken, they were going down to the Active Autowerke HQ down in Miami, and they were doing product reviews, showing us the behind the scenes of the equal length. At the time, Active Autowerke had the equal length on their shop car, which was a non-comp manual, and I think they had the resonated version, I believe, or non-resonated, I forget, but it sounded so clean. It was something that the F8X community, BMW community hadn't really seen, because as everybody knows, this S55 engine and these F8X M cars sound terrible from the factory. They sound like lawnmowers, sound like a bunch of other stuff too. They're super raspy, obviously everybody knows that, but Active Autowerke came out with a solution. You know, they already had the single mid pipe, which is what I have on my car right now, and the single mid pipe obviously gets rid of a lot of that unwanted rasp, but it's still very raspy, you know, at the higher RPM and when you're revving at a standstill. So they wanted to come up with a better solution, and that is where the equal length mid pipe was born. They added about like 13 inches or so on one side, which is the shorter side of the downpipe. So by adding the squiggle section, which I'll put on the screen now, they were able to smooth out the sound and the tone of the S55. And as most of you guys know by now, the equal length is definitely the solution for eliminating like 99% of the rasp. So yeah, going back to my car, this was about a year, maybe less than a year into ownership. I already had done, you know, suspension, spacers, a couple aero parts of course, but I knew for sure, as being a car guy, I wanted a louder car. I wanted more sound. You can't really hear the exhaust setups on these cars stock, but the competition one, you can kind of hear like the burbles and whatnot, and it sounds okay. But to really open these cars up, you need a mid pipe, and people do the mid pipe first because you can keep your stock down pipes, keep your factory warranty if you have one. So a lot of people start with the mid pipe, and then they'll do down pipes or a muffler section, rear section. So I decided to put my name down on the list after seeing the Beamer Invasion video, and I wanted the non-resonated version because I wanted, you know, my car to be as loud as possible, of course. And I'll tell you what, when that came in, I was so happy. I was like a kid in a candy store on Christmas Day. And yeah, we installed that at WTF Motorsports here in Orlando. And I tell everybody that asks this on Instagram, on YouTube, I tell them that my stock downpipe, non-resonated equal length stock competition muffler was probably my favorite setup besides the setup that I'm running now. I absolutely loved the sound that it had. I'll insert all the clips that I can, you know, after this segment, but man, I love the sound. It sounded so good. It sounded so smooth, sounded so aggressive, and it completely eliminated all of the rasp and brought this car to life, which is what I really wanted at the time. And so that video alone, I think, convinced a lot of people that were on the fence about the equal length to actually pull the trigger on it. So I think it really did change the game for these S55s that notoriously sounded so bad for so long, and the equal length came out and it was such a game changer mod. And so I think I ran that setup for a long time actually, and then obviously us car guys, us BMW guys get the itch to do more, and I wanted more sound, and I also wanted to tune the car. So in order to do that, I wanted to get downpipes, of course, and I went with the ARM resonated catless downpipes, and then I paired that up with a stage 2 tune from boot mode. And here's where we went down a little rabbit hole of, you know, not really being able to enjoy the exhaust sound anymore, because I've already let Active Autowerke know this. When you have a non-resonated equal length mid pipe paired with catless downpipes, you get this resonance at around 2K RPM, this buzzing sound, and it sounds absolutely terrible. It sounds like a Honda Civic. It sounds like a very riced out car, and that shouldn't be coming from a high-end sports car from BMW. So if I can find some clips, which I know I have a few because I made a video on it, so I'll insert some clips of that sound. Hopefully you guys can hear it. This setup for a few months. I mean, it was a long time actually, and it drove me crazy. Every day I drove it. I like really hated it actually. It sounded loud and sounded good in person, and then, you know, after 2K RPM it sounded like a straight beast.
Damn, this shit's so loud, guys. That shit's fucking crazy.
It's fire. But at the end of the day, you had to deal with that 2K RPM rasp, and it sounded so bad. It took away from the driving experience. It took away from me being able to open up the car and drive it around town. Even just like driving it around town in, you know, lower RPMs in efficient mode, you would still hear it, and it just sounded so bad. I actually had to change my shift setting to a more aggressive one just so I can hear less of that 2K buzz. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear, you know, what I was exactly talking about. But man, that drove me insane. I thought it was the downpipes. I blamed the ARM downpipes for the longest time. I thought there was a flange that, you know, wasn't welded properly, or something was rattling underneath the car. I even went under the car, checked the downpipes, checked all the connections, and everything was good. So I went back to the drawing board and I spoke to Active Autowerke about it, and I let them know the issue. I also did my due diligence and talked to a few other F8X owners with similar setups, and I also checked the forums, and everybody else was also experiencing the same issue. The only people that didn't experience the same issue was people that had the resonated version of the equal length mid pipe. So in my head I was just like, all right, that's an easy fix. I reached out to Active Autowerke. They sent me out a resonated section only for the equal length mid pipe. We made a video on that, and we put it on. Super easy. I had my hopes up because I had a few friends that told me, you know, it would eliminate the 2K rasp issue that I was having. But we installed the resonated section, and I went for my first drive, and I would say it eliminated, I don't know, like 80% of the 2K buzz that I was experiencing from before. So, you know, for me, it was not permanently fixed. It was just kind of like, you know, slapping a band-aid on and saying it was fixed. But as a true, you know, enthusiast, super annoyed with that, and I was not satisfied. So went back to the drawing board, and I was like, all right, what can I do now? I have the ARM downpipes, I have the resonated equal length now. It also took away from the loudness, you know, of my car, which, you know, I didn't want to run resonators, and I still don't. I kind of want the car to be as loud as possible. And I was like, you know what? I had a few friends on Instagram switch from the equal length to the single mid pipe from Active Autowerke. I never thought, you know, I would come to the day where I would be giving up the equal length mid pipe, the smoothness of the sound. But it came to that because I reached out to Active Autowerke. I was like, hey, I want to try out the single mid pipe, and I want to see if it fixes, you know, my little 2K rasp issue, which I knew it would. So luckily Active Autowerke sent me out a single mid pipe, non-resonated, and I still had the ARM catless downpipes on the car. Of course, we made a video on that, and that did really good because it kind of just showed people that, you know, the equal length is a good fix for these cars. But in my opinion, I think they are a good fix if you have stock downpipes. So Active Autowerke and I talked a little bit, and we came to an agreement that the shop car that the first equal length mid pipe had was actually manual, so you never really encountered the 2K rasp issue, because if you're shifting in a manual in any gear, you're probably not shifting around 3 or 4K RPM, and you go straight through that 2K rev range where you would hear the buzz. So that is the conclusion that we came up with, and it was true because our friend Jonathan Wang, Towson's, and a few others, they didn't experience this issue, which is why, you know, they obviously rolled out the equal length mid pipe, because they weren't testing on a DCT car. Luckily we figured that out, because although I switched to the single mid pipe, I still wanted to figure out, you know, with Active Autowerke, what was causing that 2K issue. So back to the story. That first drive, I hadn't been that happy in like probably a year, because I was running all these different setups for over a year. I was really unhappy and dissatisfied. But I remember that first drive with the single mid pipe. Obviously we have a video on that too. All of my like annoyances and fears of that 2K buzz just went out the window, because it was completely gone. You obviously didn't hear it, and I just had this big ass smile on my face because I could finally enjoy the car again. And not only that, the single mid pipe opened up the car so much, a deeper tone, as most of you guys know, and it also allowed me to hear the turbos. With the EcoLink setup that I had before, I never was really able to hear the turbo spool or the spool down, you know what I mean, the whistle noise. But with this single mid pipe, it just opened it up so much more. And you know, going through my neighborhood, hearing that little turbo spool on the downshifts, it just sounded so good, and it just brought me so much joy. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and insert some of those clips now for you guys to see. So after that setup, I really didn't think that, you know, I was ever gonna need to change the setup again, because I was so happy with just not having that 2K buzz issue anymore. I was thrilled. I was like, all right, we can focus on other mods now. We can actually enjoy the car, you know, make exhaust content finally. And yeah, but fast forward a few months, and Rob from Active Autowerke calls me, hits me up, and he was like, yo, I know you've actually talked about, you know, wanting to run our downpipes instead of these ARM ones, even though we kind of figured out that these ARM downpipes weren't causing the issue. I still wanted to run, you know, more Active Autowerke products on my car because they're such a huge partner with me. He said, I have a pair of these, you know, race downpipes, catless downpipes that are our brand. Would you want to run them on your F80 and switch from the ARM ones? And I said, yeah, no problem, let's do it. And for me, I wanted the loudest car possible at the time. So in my head, I was like, all right, we're going from a resonated catless to a full catless. I'll obviously get a little sound increase from that, so let's go ahead and do it. So we took it to the shop, WTF Motorsports, installed them over the weekend and picked the car up. And honestly, I didn't hear that much of a difference, but I was still happy to be running a full Active Autowerke system on my car. And again, it sounded so good. I was so happy with the sound. And then the same thing happened a few months later. I got another call from Rob. I love getting these calls from Rob, you know what I mean? And he goes, yo, I have a new exhaust coming out for the F8X. It's called the Mad Max. It looks like a Frankenstein exhaust. I actually watched a video from Ken and Miguel with Beamer Invasion. They actually covered this exhaust on their channel, and this was the first time I ever saw it. I never thought anything of it because I actually love the sound of the competition muffler. So I was like, yeah, I've seen it. He's like, what do you think about the idea of running it on your car? We'll send it out to you. And I was like, say less. Pretty much, I was like, say less, let's do it. Because, you know, at this time, we've already built a solid connection and relationship. You know, I was putting out every video that I could with all these new exhaust setups. So people were watching, people were switching the single, people were buying the EcoLink. So it worked out for me, and it worked out for Active, of course. So yeah, he sent out the Mad Max exhaust, and we put that on in the garage ourselves, actually. Do it again. And man, the Mad Max exhaust, which is the current setup that we have now, just sounded so good. So it has these two dump tubes on the bottom, you know, that empty out when the valves are open, and they just go straight to the floor, and it looks literally like out of a Mad Max movie. I'll put a picture on the screen now for you guys to see. What I describe the Mad Max to people as is, it is a deeper competition muffler. So you know how the competition mufflers on these cars are very kind of like deep already, and they have a deep tone to them? Well, the Mad Max is just a louder and deeper version of that. So that's how I describe my current exhaust, which you guys might be able to hear with the valves closed in the background. But yeah, that is what the current setup is now. We have the Active Autowerke full catless downpipes, their non-resonated single mid pipe, and their Mad Max exhaust, which I absolutely love. This is my top favorite setup that I've had on the car. Have no plans on changing it. And again, my other favorite setup would probably be the stock downpipe and non-resonated EcoLink that we started with in this video. Let me know in the comments if this video helped you at all. That is again, my opinion with my own personal experience. And again, I do all these exhaust content so you guys don't have to. You guys will be able to hear the setup. Man, absolutely puts a huge smile on my face. I have a lot of people asking me all the time, like, yo, when are you gonna go E85? When are you gonna go bigger power? And quite honestly, I'm pretty content right now with, you know, not really modding the car anymore. I'm pretty happy with where it's at. You guys already know my car's fully done up already, so there's not much more I want to do. And then, you know, obviously if you start chasing big power, you start running into more expenses, more issues. So right now where I'm at currently with the build, I'm just gonna keep enjoying the car, keep making content for you guys on YouTube, on Instagram. So I'm just gonna enjoy the car as it is and prioritize other stuff in life right now. So that's where we're at. See if we'll give you a little hit right here. Dirtiest looks, I swear. Combination of the muffler, the front mount intakes. Life is good when you're driving an F80 with all these mods on it and it sounds this great.